Hello, I am now filming with my brand new camera, which I got for Christmas, which I'm very happy with. It has a gimbal built in and a face tracker, so if I move, it follows me. That's not me doing that. Sorry, I'm being extremely geeky. So I just thought I would address before I continue with today's video why my walls look so bad. And that is because we are renovating our Victorian villa in the Scottish Highlands. I have said this before in previous videos, and basically we have no spare bedrooms to film in that aren't ready to be decorated, so we basically stripped all the rooms back to the plaster. And everyone that lived in this house before us loved wallpaper and didn't paint, so yeah, basically we've just stripped back to the original plaster and it's all cracked, so we need to have it completely replastered, and that's probably not going to be done for about a month. So my next few videos are probably going to be a bit gross in the background, but needs must, and we will just ignore and continue with the content anyway. So I hope you've had a good festive period and a great new year, and I am ready to tackle 2022 head on. I've made a bit of a plan with the videos that I want to do this year. I even have a series planned, which I am going to talk to you about in a bit and kind of test the waters over that. I got some, like I said, I got some new equipment for Christmas, and so yeah, I'm really trying to step my game up and take it a little bit more seriously. So today I'm going to be doing a little comparison video between a walking foot and a Teflon foot. Obviously they are very different, but they kind of are used for the same thing, especially when it comes to leather. So I just wanted to just compare and see whether it's worth spending a little bit more money on this or going cheap and buying this. But I also wanted to introduce a new series that I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, and that is entitled Seamstresses from History That You've Never Heard Of. Now, if we go back a little and get some context behind this, basically when I first started this YouTube channel, I did some research into how to make it successful, and you know, the end goal really is to monetize it, so I can do something I love and be able to make a living. And most of the videos on how to kind of be good at YouTube and be successful and, you know, get to like your first 1,000 subscribers were proper clickbait, really shit, didn't give any decent advice. But there was one point that kept coming up, and that was find your niche. Now, obviously sewing is my niche, but it's a very generic, broad niche, and there are a lot of successful sewing YouTubers out there doing the same thing as me, like vlogging what they're making, making their own patterns and reviews and stuff, and that's great. I do still want to do that, but I just need something to kind of set me apart. And I had to think about, you know, what I like to consume and what I like to watch and listen to on podcasts and things. And the main thing, well, my favorite podcast is something called You Must Remember This. Now, it's a podcast about the golden age of cinema and Hollywood's first century, and each episode basically focuses on individual people that were born and lived and died before I was even born. And I love listening to what they got up to in their lives, the barriers that they had to overcome, you know, gender norms that they were horrible back in those days, and just I find it fascinating listening to, you know, stuff about individual people. I find people's stories really enjoyable to listen to. And so I thought, how can I kind of make this relevant to the sewing industry? And I thought, what about seamstresses, and specifically women that you'd never heard of that have achieved great things? And I hope this finds an audience, because it's something I would love to continue doing on a regular basis. Now, I've found 3 women so far that I want to showcase. The first one being a slave from the 1800s who lived on a plantation, managed to buy her own freedom, and then worked her way up to be the official dressmaker for the White House when Abraham Lincoln was in office. Now, it's an incredible story, and I can't believe I'd never heard of her, and I would just love to share it with you all and you know, celebrate her for the amazing things that she achieved. And every time I do one of these videos, it's going to be something slightly different, but it's always going to focus on women who have achieved stuff. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, whether you would be interested in watching something like this, and hopefully it's something I can continue to do. So that video will be out shortly. I'm going to start filming that soon. I'm just continuing a little bit more of my research. And yeah, it's just, I'm really excited to get going with it all. So back to the point of the video, we have a walking foot and we have a Teflon foot. Differences being, the Teflon foot is tiny. It's absolutely the same size as a normal foot for your machine. And a walking foot is very big, and it has two sections where it needs to attach to your machine. Arguably, this is a lot more annoying to fit. I will show you in a second how that fits. And this one, really easy, just clamps on. Price difference is huge. This was £3, this was £30. Now, what I want to establish is whether this is worth the investment or whether we should stick with the cheaper option. So I'm going to be testing it on a few different fabrics, leather, viscose, and a slinky, chiffony, really slippery fabric. And I'm not going to hold on to them too much. I'm just going to briefly hold the end and just let them go and see if I get straight lines, see how they move around, what the tension's like. And then I'll just do a quick, conclusion at the end about what I find. I think I can probably predict how this is going to go, but we'll see. So here's both of the feet in a little bit closer detail. The Teflon foot is pretty much the same as a standard foot, other than the front ends are pointy instead of flat like my normal presser foot, and it's made of plastic, plus it's got a little metal bit to attach to the machine. Now the walking foot is obviously a lot more complicated. It has double mechanism in the foot to help ease the fabric along, and it also has two sections where it has to attach to the machine. So yeah, it is more expensive, but you are getting a lot more for your money. So I'm attaching the Teflon foot first. Really, really simple, just to attach it in the exact same way as you would a normal foot. And then for the walking foot, you have to completely unattach the back piece of the machine with a screwdriver and attach both sections as I'm doing here and screw it back up. It doesn't take too long. It probably took about a minute all in all because I've sped it up here, but it is a lot more fiddly than the normal Teflon foot. So the first fabric being tested is a red pleather. Now this is double layered, so I've got the leather facing down and facing up, and it's still handling this really well. There's a little bit of movement as it goes through, but nothing major, and the main thing is I don't have to pull it through like I would with a normal foot. The second fabric is a slippery chiffon. This moves around a hell of a lot normally. Not a lot of difference with this foot, I must say, and the same goes with the viscose. Pretty standard. It kind of feels like I'm sewing with my normal presser foot. So I thought I'd just show you the end result of the Teflon foot. So the viscose came out fine. It had quite a little bit of movement on, but I managed to get a straight enough line. The leather, I got a pretty straight line, and the chiffon-y style went really dodgy at the end there, you can see that. So that really didn't help much with this extremely slippery fabric. Here is the walking foot with the red leather. Now you can see how well that is handling this. Not only is it pulling it through, it's also keeping it straight without me having to kind of direct it. And the chiffon-y fabric also, again, staying a hell of a lot straighter than with the Teflon foot. And it's just taking that really, really well. The same goes for the viscose. Takes through the machine quite nicely, and it doesn't kind of try and go off to the side or anything. Remember, I said I'm not really controlling it much. Now consistently my lines on all three bits of fabric are a lot straighter. The leather is pretty perfect, I would say, and the tension's great. And the chiffon, again, it's not the straightest line, but then again I wasn't really holding on to it, but you don't get any proper wobbly bits like on the Teflon foot. So that was just a quick little comparison video. comparing both feet and kind of telling you the difference between the two, really. To summarise, I guess it kind of went the way I thought it was going to go. A Teflon foot is perfectly acceptable for leather. It does help you out. However, it doesn't help push through the fabric. It just stops a little bit of tension. So if you're on a budget and you want to help yourself sew specifically leather, then I would recommend a Teflon foot. But if you want to step your game up and really make it easier for yourself to get through the fabric, then I would recommend a walking foot. Walking foot also has the added benefit of being good for quilting and slippery fabrics because of the two separate mechanisms. It just helps feed it through. So there we have it. That's the video for you today. I'll be back again next week, hopefully with my first video in the new series that I was telling you about earlier. In the meantime, please subscribe and like this video. It really helps me out and it's completely free to do so. So yeah, I'll see you next time.